Despite the fact that House Republicans have been unable to organize themselves around and prioritize funding the government, which seems to be a pretty basic task for them, but they can do it. They are, no need to fear, they are getting some work done when it comes to the impeachment inquiry into President Joe Biden. They held, in the midst of their inability to fund the government, they're going to cause harm because the government will be shut down. They're spending time holding political stunt hearings against President Biden based on allegations they time and time again, for how long now, have been unable to substantiate. And that's what I have here for you. First, Biden impeachment inquiry hearing. Now, so much was going on, lots of footage coming out of this. So I kind of just picked a few moments I thought were particularly interesting because there's just too much here to discuss if we went through every single moment. But kind of the general zoomed out breakdown is that it's a similar set of, or the exact same set of allegations that we've been covering in the House Oversight Committee investigation. And no new evidence is being brought forward, obviously. And still, there's just this big question mark as to why is there an impeachment inquiry going on? You keep saying, we're going to be able to prove Biden was bribed. And then there actually isn't evidence to substantiate that, which is very important for such a massive allegation such as that. And the embarrassing nature of this whole charade that seems to be because of all their big promises, they started realizing we're not going to be able to actually get the goods on this stuff. Well, let's just pretend like we did and continue charging forward. So they're going through the motions as if they had this stuff. And so then you get moments like this where a Fox News legal analyst is brought as a witness, Jonathan Turley, and admits, right now, I don't see, one of their own witnesses, I don't see impeachable offenses.
And then it was just 3 years ago that another impeachment occurred without any hearings at all. The shortening intervals between impeachments should be a cause of concern and circumspection for all the members on both sides. And I want to emphasize what it is that we're here today for. This is a question of an impeachment inquiry. It is not a vote on articles of impeachment. In fact, I do not believe that the current evidence would support articles of impeachment. That is something that an inquiry has to establish. But I also do believe.
Okay, so he believes that, oh wait, I didn't play this part, sorry.
That the House has passed the threshold for an impeachment inquiry into the conduct of President Biden.
Not trying to dishonestly clip him off. I do want you to see that he does believe the inquiry is justified. And that's where we differ. Because the impeachment escalation, bringing it into the impeachment arena, should mean you have something that, even if you want to round it out, you want to bolster it, you want to attach more evidence to it, something that is going to eventually be impeachable. Not, we hope we'll find that something, but we have the thing, we just need to round it out, like I said. We need to support it with more evidence, even though what we have already is damning, if we can make that case really strong for impeachment. Not, we literally don't have the thing whatsoever that would justify impeachment, but we think we could find it in an inquiry, even though all this time has gone by in our current investigation and we can't find it. If it were there, they would have found it by now. And it would have been found when Trump's DOJ investigated these allegations and said no merit. By the way, these witnesses, like I mentioned with the Fox News legal analyst, so obviously partisan. Come on, you're making it too obvious, Republicans.
We have one witness who has a lot of questions, Ms. O'Connor. Dubinsky, one witness who knows something about accounting but has no real involvement in what's going on. And Mr. Turley stopping here on his way to his next Fox News hit. This is not a serious inquiry. And
of course, her face is hilarious. Now, why she's offended about that, I have no idea. Jonathan Turley is a Fox News legal analyst. Why is it offensive to say, and after this hearing, he's probably going to go and be on Fox News? And yes, this panel of witnesses who aren't key fact witnesses is just proof of the lack of material, meaningful evidence or a justification for this whole charade. As a reminder, the last impeachment that happened of a president was for a sitting president who riled up a mob to attack the Capitol of the United States of America to prevent the certification of a free and fair election. And while he was doing that, while he was telling these lies that would lead this mob to attack the Capitol, he was also parallel to that, trying to, as he's currently now being legally prosecuted for, overthrow our lawful process and keep himself the president despite the democratic election that had taken place. And he was impeached for a part of that. Now, Biden's being impeached, or they're doing an inquiry for what? Because Hunter Biden is a business guy and you think that maybe Joe Biden had something to do with it, but you can't prove it time and time again? Whew. And by the way, I brought up key fact witnesses. If your impeachment inquiry was serious, you had all these months of investigations, years actually at this point, and can't prove your allegations. But if the inquiry made any sense, then this would be the moment, I guess, as they've been promising, where the smoking gun would be brought forward. Because then you present it in impeachment inquiry, boom, you vote on impeachment. AOC points out, okay, there's witnesses here, as they're called, but you don't have any key fact witnesses. I mean, you don't have anyone who's bringing forward new evidence who witnessed it, was within the context of the action that you're talking about themselves. You should have people analyzing what the committee is saying and bringing forward.
Mr. Gerhardt, in the impeachment inquiry into President Clinton, were there key fact witnesses that were presented during those proceedings?
They were not in the House.
Mm-hmm. In the Senate, were there any?
There were.
There were in the Senate. Now, in the impeachment, in the impeachment investigations with respect to President Trump, were there key material fact witnesses in the House?
Yes, ma'am.
There were. Are there any key material fact witnesses here today?
No, ma'am.
None. And so we are wasting our time. When we talk about a threshold of an impeachment inquiry, was there...
And she's exactly right. They keep promising. Next step is when we're going to give you what you need to justify voting for impeachment. Next step. It was always the next oversight hearing, and now it's the next impeachment inquiry hearing. And of course, we're not getting it because, again, if the evidence existed, it would have been found by now. Maybe Republicans, you'll just have to admit Biden's not corrupt. That just may be the solution to your problem of not being able to find evidence. It doesn't exist. And so here, now is your time. All right, you get another chance to bring something forward, and your witnesses aren't key fact witnesses who could bring forward new evidence that could be that smoking gun. It's ridiculous. Last thing we'll look at before moving on to another segment, Jamie Raskin saying this.
All right, so let's get it straight. We're 62 hours away from shutting down the government of the United States of America, and Republicans are launching an impeachment drive based on a long debunked and discredited lie. No foreign enemy has ever been able to shut down the government of the United States, but now MAGA Republicans are about to do just that. But they don't want to cut off public services to the people and deny paychecks to more than 1 million service members without first launching an impeachment drive, even when they don't have a shred of evidence against President Biden for an impeachable offense. And you think I'm being harsh? Here's what some Republicans have had to say over the last week about the actions of the Republicans as they watch up close, quote, the dysfunction caucus at work, in the words of our GOP colleague from Nebraska, Don Bacon. Clown show, foolishness, terribly misguided, stupidity, failure to lead, lunatics.
And these are quotes we've gone over in the past when even the modern House Republican Party can't unite around something like this, a political attack against Biden. Come on, you got to be able to get everyone on board with that. Clearly, you're missing anywhere close to what you'd need to justify this whole stunt.